The Sovereign Military and Hospitaller Order of the Knights of St. John, Jerusalem, and Rhodes are now the Knights of Malta, the bulwark of Christendom. St. John's Co-Cathedral is the final resting place for the fallen knights of the Great Siege.
I'm Joe Gallia Naudi, curator of St. John's Museum. At present, we are in the oratory of the Co-Cathedral of St. John. This is an extension of the Co-Cathedral, the oratory which was built 30 years after the conventual church of the order was built. That means it was built in 1603. Originally, when this oratory was built, it was very plain, built in limestone, quarried from this very same area where at present there's the crypt of the Knights of St. John. And it was about 8 years later that the oratory was decorated as we see it at the moment. The first painting to be placed in this oratory was the large canvas depicting the beheading of St. John the Baptist, picture by Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio. Most of the decoration of this hall was done by Mattia Preti. It was all done within a matter of, let's say, 1 decade. But we also have other pictures in the oratory, a number of smaller mural paintings, the pilasters inlaid with precious marbles, and also the ceiling of the oratory as well. The altar was made in Rome, and it was donated to the church by Grand Master Gregorio Caraffa. It's a rather important workmanship in marble. The central roundel on the altar is by Ciro Ferri. But we also have another Caravaggio painting, St. Jerome. St. Jerome is half undressed. It's Grandmaster Winiakur himself who was actually posing for, or as I should say, St. Jerome.
This is Monsignor Carmelo Bianco, director of this church. This magnificent temple, I would like to call it, which was the conventual church of the Knights of Malta. And besides this church, there are so many chapels in it. The Order of St. John was formed of langues, they used to call them, languages. And each language had its own chapel. For example, on this side here, we have got the one dedicated to Spaniards. On the other side there, we have got the chapel of St. Catherine, which was dedicated to Italians, you see. The church was decorated by Mattia Preti, a well-known and renowned painter, who also was made afterwards a knight by the Order of St. John.
Most of the knights whose memorial tablets are placed on the floor here were members of Europe's most illustrious families of the 17th and 18th centuries. One can actually say that the history of Europe is really depicted in the floors of the Co-Cathedral.
Externally, the church is comparatively simple, but the interior is glorious. The entire far-reaching unbroken floor is laid close with the marble tombs of the knights. They are blazoned and lettered and many-colored. The tombs are assembled in so regular a pattern that the effect suggests the floor of a mosque, carpeted with prayer rugs.
It's something unique, I think. I have been all over the world practically. I have never seen a church which is overlaid completely with marble slabs and tombstones like the one I've got here. And besides, very important too is that you find on each slab the role each and every one played within the order of St. John.
The knights were above the law, the ordinary laws of all Christian countries. They answered only to the Grand Master. The Grand Master recognized only God, himself, and the Pope. St. John's Co-Cathedral is the Valhalla of the Knights. Inquisitors' palaces throughout Europe have been suppressed and destroyed, making this one the last. Execution Courtyard echoes one of history's darkest hours. The knights put loyalty to their order above all other loyalties, and they welcomed death as a gateway to eternal life. The main hall was the court of the Inquisition. 62 inquisitors were sent to Malta, primarily to judge the knights. As the authority of the Grand Master was undermined, the underlying fabric of the Brotherhood began to unravel. When Napoleon sailed into Grand Harbor, Fort San Angelo's guns were embarrassingly silent.
And it was here that they ended up their history, actually, with the oncoming of Napoleon here in Malta, who drove away the last Grand Master, who was Ferdinand von Hompesch.
The proud Brotherhood found itself facing its darkest hour. Expelled by Napoleon, most knights returned to their native soils. The watchtowers stand as silent guardians, outposts of another time. San Juan Capistrano, California, is home to Joseph Pierce.
I had a bishop friend of mine who came to California. He asked me what kind of work I did, and I told him I was a jeweler. And I always knew that it was customary to donate a bishop a ring. So I made him a beautiful ring, and every time that he wrote me, he'd say, "Today I went to visit the Holy Father." Every time he went, the Pope would say, "I sure like your ring." And he said, "This jeweler in California made it for me." So I put one together and presented it to the Holy Father. I said, "I'm the jeweler from California." He said, "Oh, I heard of you." And I said, "I heard of you too," you know, and it was kind of a good meeting between the both of us.
Joe Pierce is a 9-to-5 working man, loyal churchgoer, an occasional bowler. He is also a Knight of the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. 7 days a week for 5 years, Pierce has shown up at 7:30 a.m. to dispense the Eucharist to the parishioners in his church.
Yeah, I would truly say that I would give up everything I owned and really do like the days of old and make the full commitment. I feel I could do so much if the Lord willing. I have to always say that because He controls our life. Knights of old always used to return the relics back to the church. During World War II, a serviceman found this relic in the bombing in a cathedral over in Italy. He kind of felt that he took it and he shouldn't have, and he wanted to return it. So I took the relic back to Rome. I was with my son, Ron, and for him it was quite an honor to see his dad going up and presenting the relic to the Holy Father. The oath that we take as a knight is to fight evil and to defend the weak, which has been a pledge from the time of the Crusades to the present time. The future is going to be back in Malta now. The Maltese government gave the Knights old Fort St. Angelo as a training center. This is the new adventure that we'll be going into that I myself hope to be part of.
The role of the Knights of St. John in some of the most critical moments in history has been the defense of threatened outposts against a tide of conquest. Some of their stands have turned the tide of history. The Knights of St. John continue their double vocation of caring for our Lord's the sick and defending the faith. Over the centuries, we have seen the order go down in what seemed to be complete defeat, only to rise again and travel a path that is quite new, but always based firmly in the teachings of Brother Gerard. From the battlefields of Outremer to the boardrooms in America, the Knights of